data. On behalf of Council, Mr. Altmaier has the floor first.
President, Commissioner, ladies and gentlemen, today we're dealing with 3 reports which represent considerable progress in cross-border police cooperation in European policy. First of all, we are talking about the Prüm Treaty. It was originally an international treaty between a few member states. At the beginning there were 7, and now 10 further states have joined. And this treaty has led to a situation where, for the first time in Europe, we have a network of national databases for DNA, fingerprints and registration plates. And this forms the basis of a modern police information association in Europe, taking into account a high level of data protection. This treaty between a number of member states is now being carried over to European level, and it is being incorporated into the legal framework of the European Union, and it will apply to all 27 member states with regard to its core components. And this makes a contribution to the security of our citizens in Europe. We already have experience in DNA comparisons between a few countries, and even that has led to the identification of criminals and successful prosecution of serious crimes. We're also making a contribution towards improving the ability of the European Union to take action in this area, because it's quite right to say that this treaty will not be dealt with according to international law only in future. It's going to be part of our European Union legal framework, and therefore I would like to thank all member states, all European member states, but also the European Commission and members of the European Parliament, because you have all helped to make sure that the Prüm Treaty could become part of EU law in a very short space of time. And in implementing this, of course, we will also be taking into account the views of the European Parliament in appropriate fashion. Secondly, next week we'll be taking a decision on the visa information system. In May we already managed to reach political agreement on this with the European Parliament. And I think that since we have ESDP agreement, there is a good chance that there will be formal agreement from Council next week, and then the text will have to be checked by legal linguists, of course. But the visa information system is a very important system to strengthen the area of freedom, security and justice. And the storage of alphanumeric and digital data will be made possible. And this will mean that we will be able to deal with multiple applications and cases of fraud better than we have been able to hitherto. The access decision also means that security forces can call on the VIS for prevention in order to be able to uncover terrorism and other serious crimes. The security forces will be given more tools, and that will improve protection against international terrorism and organised crime in the future. I would like to emphasise that the agreement that we've reached with the European Parliament is a very balanced agreement which takes into account all the different arguments that have been put forward in a very sensible draft. If we manage to improve police cooperation in Europe, as we have through these measures, and if we thereby achieve more security for our citizens, then we also have to make sure that data protection in the European Union is a priority, and that abuse of data which is exchanged by member states is prevented and can be combated. And that's why I'm so happy that over the past few weeks we've been able to make considerable progress in the framework decision on data protection under the 3rd pillar. And that in cooperation with rapporteurs in the European Parliament, we have been able to deal with a new draft in the Council Working Group in 2 readings. There were a number of reservations in the past preventing progress here, but the number of reservations has now been considerably reduced. The new revised draft provides a high level of protection. The protection level of European Council Agreement 108 and the additional protocol of 2001 are fully respected. And as far as the scope is concerned, and the issue of third states, third countries, we will also be able to find sensible solutions. The European Parliament has paid a massive contribution to this, and I would like to thank you explicitly on behalf of the Presidency for the speed with which you have dealt with this revised draft, in particular with regard to the appropriate level of protection of data from third states, third countries, and a regulation on data being passed on to private individuals. I think we're on our way to resolving those issues as well. The evaluation clause that the European Parliament has proposed with regard to the scope is also a very constructive solution, and we will be availing ourselves of the remaining time of the German presidency to try to make further progress. Commissioner Frattini has made a contribution as well with his 15 principles on data protection. They've enabled us to concentrate on the essentials, and we'll be able to we'll be putting a declaration to the Commission, and we hope that these principles will be fully respected in the course of future discussions. Thank you.